Welcome to the latest webcast from Economic Perspectives. I'm Peter Warburton, Director of the company, and I want to talk today about how household credit may be starting to revive. After 4 or 5 years now of really quite constrained household credit conditions in mature developed economies like America and Britain and Canada, there are indications that the environment is softening. Now, part of this context, of course, is at the last G20 meeting of large developed countries, there was an agreement that the growth agenda should now be raised above the financial stability agenda and, if you like, the debt reduction agenda. So that was, in some ways, just another policy statement from a group of governments, but I think there is a clear message that lies behind it, namely that it's no longer acceptable politically for our economies to be growing so slowly. And I think the particular focus really is how tightening regulation on the banks and indeed changed bank attitudes to the household sector, how these have really weighed down on household consumption. Household consumption, as we know, is numerically the largest contributor to economic growth, and of late consumption growth has been very subdued, and particularly so in the European Union. In fact, in the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a negative contribution of consumption to growth. So we have a new political imperative, we have a new reality, which is that the growth agenda comes on top, and within that there has to be a relaxation of credit conditions for the household sector. So our latest global credit perspective describes how this is likely to come about, and indeed in some ways is already coming about. We already have a relaxation of credit conditions in a number of countries, and what's interesting is that our indicators suggest that many European countries are now joining in that trend. In other words, debt conditions are becoming more favourable to a growth of household consumption in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal, and in some of the smaller countries like Czech Republic and Slovakia. What does this mean? Basically that there is just the initial sign that household credit will help to drive an improvement in consumer spending, and that in turn the reflationary dynamics will start to play out more powerfully over the second half of this year and indeed into 2014. So what you have heard in other places is that there's a balance sheet recession going on, and that households will be weighed down by their debts and will be in their shells for years to come. When we look at the data, we don't see this. We basically see the most extreme forms of deleveraging of household debt coming to an end, and indeed an appetite for consumers to borrow more at the margins. If you want to learn more, then please visit our website and learn how you can subscribe to the products of Economic Perspectives. And that's all from me today, from Peter Warburton.